let's touch on the author and how they got together, because the author had he was the vice president of a tech company, and
Marc Randolph.
And that tech company grew, and they were bought out by another company. And the CEO of that company was a guy called Reed. I think
Reed Hastings.
Reed Hastings. And as part of that, Marc still had to stay working for the company, and Marc and Reed travelled to go to work together in the same car. I actually don't know why they were car sharing, but maybe it just worked out. Maybe because they discussed stuff in the car journey. Anyway, in the car journey, they realised that current business was coming to an end. It was going to end in a few months. I can't remember if they was being bought out, or I can't remember exactly what. So they were discussing business ideas. Marc was the creative one coming up with business ideas in the car journey. And Reed was what would you call him?
He'll just be the decision. That's why the whole name of the book is like, that will never work.
Yeah.
So Marc would pitch it, and then Reed would be like, yeah, that will never work. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they would kind of discuss it. So, that kind of joint decision making to a degree.
Yeah, Reed was more like the level head, I would say.
Yeah.
Marc was the ideas. Yeah, let's try this. Can you remember any of the ideas that he come up with?
No, man. Oh, wait. There was one. Oh, I'm going to get it wrong. It was about surfboards.
Okay.
Or something like that, but read the book.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
He come up with lots of ideas, and some maybe had some legs, but then, anyway. So they eventually came up with an idea about posting out videos to people so that they could watch videos rather than going to the store and picking the video. They post them out to people. But they realized posting a VHS video, that wouldn't work. That would never work. So then they got the idea, okay, maybe we could post DVDs out.
Can I just quickly pause you there to say how they kind of got to the idea? So Reed challenged Marc to think of a reusable product that can be resold to the customer and easy to resell again and again. So that was the challenge that Reed gave to Marc. And then the idea, now he goes into this with business ideas, is obviously when you're selling a product or selling your idea or vision, you want to make it as succinct as possible. So Reed kind of has a kind of monologue that he has about how the business was made, but that's not exactly how it was made. But the idea for Netflix came on a car journey. Marc mentioned that he was tired because his 3-year-old woke him up to watch, because he had a bad dream, so they watched Aladdin to put him back to bed. And then when he woke up, so then Reed remembered, after that story, that he had a late fee on a video that he rented out from whichever Blockbuster or whichever video rentals company it was. So that was kind of what sparked the idea. So that's part of the story. So the late fee, he's like, I've got this late fee. Okay. And then it kind of, as conversation goes.
So they were continuously brainstorming, essentially. So just coming up with ideas all the time. But the first step was to get the DVD sent out and see if it would break, see how much it would cost, etc. So that was kind of the start of it. And then they met a guy, Mitch, who was a video store owner, and he was passionate about videos. People would come in and ask him what films to watch, and he would his knowledge was crazy. So they kind of brought him on board.
But he was reluctant to join, I think, because he had his own business.
He was reluctant. But when things moved along, he was reluctant to join. And what I liked, sorry, I'm jumping around a bit, not too much, still kind of going in order. But they wanted to raise some money so that they could have capital to float. And I think I wanted to touch on realism here, because the fact that they were in a position to be able to get funding, and for example, Marc asked one of his friends for 25k.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I don't have many friends that would just have 25k
I'd ask
to
you.
Put in.
You'd be the guy I'd ask.
I'd be the guy.
You'd be the guy that I'd ask. Yeah.
I'd ask you. And you get a no, innit?
We move.
Yeah, say that again?
No, we move.
But yeah, he was lucky to have a friend.
Yeah.
And I think even the guy that he asked was like, I'm never going to see this money again.
Yeah.
But he had the money to do it,
And his mum, he did a kind of...
Yeah, and his mum, he asked his mum for money. So I guess I wanted to just touch on, like, part of it, he was lucky to be in those positions to be able to do that. And there's always an element of luck. Obviously, he'd built up his previous business before and built up his network and whatnot. But to ask his parents for, was it 100K he asked his mum? I can't remember the numbers, but like, that's a...
Yeah, but I think you need to remember when this came out as well, this was definitely part of the kind of startup, obviously around the .com era. Do you know what I mean? So there was a culture of this because they did a lot of funding rounds and stuff like that. So yes, that was the initial seed round, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
But after that, as we'll see in the book, like there was a lot of rounds of funding. It took a long time to become profitable. To get to where they are now, it took a long time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So yeah, they were fortunate to utilize their network, but. You know, that's what they did.
He calls that chapter OPM, or part of it, no, Show Me the Money, he calls the chapter. OPM, which stands for Other People's Money. So I thought that was quite smart. He was investing. And in fact, I can't remember if he put in much money, but Reed put in initially like £1 million. So Reed was the money man and Mark was the one making it happen. Reed was just an investor initially anyway. So I thought that was quite smart, like the fact that he's using other people's money. If it goes wrong, he hasn't lost any money. He's obviously lost time and effort, but he hasn't lost any money, which can be seen. And actually there's other points to it, just to touch on quickly. You're then also not emotionally tied to it as well. Like when you're using other people's money, you're not as emotionally tied.
I don't know. I think you might be more.
Do you?
You took money off your mum.
Yeah.
You've taken money off your friends. They've trusted you. Reputational damage, X, Y, Z. So I think you're just as emotionally tied, if not more. Because you might be like, if it's my money, well, boy, you know, money's money. Depending if it's my money, if I've invested something, and I've had businesses before, to be fair, where I put money into it and it hasn't worked, and we move on. But if my mum had to remortgage a house or had to get someone or that, you know, you might even be more, but it's down to the individual. But you might, I don't think it's a guarantee that just because it's other people's money. If it was the bank, that's another story because it's the bank, well, you know, you just deal with it or whatnot. But if someone's trusting you, because you want to do your best for them. I think you'd work actually harder if someone loaned you that you care about.
Yeah, I think I would, but I think from a risk point of view, I would feel less risk.
Yeah,
I think I would work harder if it was other people's money.
But reputational risk is maybe even worse than financial. It's a debate. It's a good conversation. Do you know what I mean?